what should we do now? Joining us for this discussion are Mr. Mohamed Ushau, Strategic Marketing Expert and Marketing Lead at TradeNet Maldives, Mr. Rajesh Mehta, Chief Business Officer at Feydhoo Maldives, Mr. Ahmed Fahudh, Imagineer, Experience Designer, Hospitality and EdTech. Moderating this session will be Ms. Rifaa Saeed, Cluster Director of Sales and Distribution, Thani Maldives and D2 Feydhoo Maldives. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed panelists and moderator to the stage.
Hello, everyone. Keeping Maldives a dream destination in the next 25 years, I think before we move on to the next 25 years, it's very important for us to look back from the humble beginning when 1972 we started off with this resort actually, with 1,000 guests coming during that year alone. Today we are somewhat 150 plus resorts, 900 plus guest houses, and 60,000 somewhat beds. So we have come really far from our humble beginning. And things are changing really fast, really rapidly. We now see generation like, Generation Z, Generation X, Millennial, that are making an impact or changing the travel trends on how they are booking the destination or how they are choosing the destination as well. So moving forward, I wanted to actually take a different aspect or different perspective of creative artists or technological advances experts or trade experts to see how they would see where we would be in the next 25 years. So today we have experts in different areas with us today. And I would like to start with Mr. Ushau. You are very instrumental in launching platforms such as the Tradian and Maldives Single Window as well, streamlining trade and connectivity and strengthening economic and tourism prospects. From your perspective, how can we evolve the Maldives brand to stay relevant and competitive for future travelers and new markets?
Thank you, Rifaa. And before I begin, I would like to thank Destination Future for organizing this gathering, which I feel is really important for the whole industry as well. And when it comes to marketing, or when we are talking about the future traveler and the future markets, we are also talking about marketing. That's how we get the traveler. Now, Rifaa was telling me this audience is comprised of people who can actually make a difference. So I would like you guys to think, when we talk about marketing, what is the vision of Maldives tourism? Now, this shouldn't be some complicated thing written on a PDF file or on a website, but this should come instinctually to your mind. If it doesn't, then we don't know. Now, then the next question is, how do we market something without knowing the goal, without where we want to go? Okay, regardless of that, let's talk about the future traveler and the new markets we are talking about. Then, of course, we are talking about Gen Z. Then we are talking about Gen Alpha, those who are born during and after 2013. And they will become the future travelers. Now, the question is, we always try to decrypt and demystify Gen Z. We want to know what are their traveling trends and patterns and what are their behaviors. We are trying to figure this out. But even based on all the research, we know for a fact that the younger travelers, they are driven by experience. They are truly digital natives, and they are young. We know this. And also we know that they are traveling more, and then they are spending more, and above all, they value experiences over possessions. So, and 92% of Gen Z travelers, their travel or the destination they want to go and what they want to do is influenced by something they see on social media. 92%, which is a huge number. And they will happily save on flights, they will skip upgrades, but something they won't compromise is the experience, what they are seeking. So the real product, Maldives as a destination, what we are selling is not really the room, it's not the view, it's the experience. So Maldives as a brand, we must invest in creating purposeful, story-worthy, unforgettable, emotionally resonant experiences. This is what we have to do. And as an industry, we are planning on growing and expanding. We are talking about the new airport. We are talking about the new airports in the islands. And we are talking about new guest houses, new resorts. And in other words, we are talking about scaling. So one of the things as an industry try to scale, or even a business as they try to scale, is they lose the intimacy of it. So one of the key words I would like you guys to remember as we go along and into our routines is how do we as an industry scale with intimacy. I believe that has been the secret of Maldivian tourism success so far in the last 50 years. And that is our ability to deliver extraordinary services, hospitality, and create joy for the guests. So now the question is, how can we scale with intimacy? One way is, of course, using technology, but here again, we have to be mindful to use technology wisely. It is not to impress the guests with the latest gadgets and all, and not to overwhelm them, but to remove friction and to create space for more human interaction. When we use, especially in the tourism industry, when we use technology, it should be invisible to the guests. They do not need to know what we are using, but as far as they are concerned, what they should feel is the sense of being welcomed and the ease that we are able to deliver through technology. So when we implement technology in the tourism industry or in any service industry, the objective should be to free up our staff so that they can focus on the human interaction and connection. And you know, one thing that machine can never replicate is the emotional hospitality. Now, let me ask you a question. How many of you use ChatGPT? Yeah. So imagine this. If someone who is dreaming of visiting Maldives, they are able to have this conversation just like you do with ChatGPT. And then you are able to decide on the airplane you're going to take, the room you're going to stay, and even during the stay, that chat smart AI is your companion and is there to help you throughout the process. And even when you go back to your country of origin, even then it's there. So that's in one way how we can use the chatbot. So no more maybe booking engines, no more OTS. Yeah. So for Maldives to remain the paradise and to remain relevant, it is important for us to evolve from escape to engagement, from scenery to storytelling, and from static to smart. So that's how we become a destination that is not just visited, but it is deeply felt, it is deeply shared, and people come back to it. So in summary, as an industry, we must scale with intimacy. As hoteliers and as resorts, we must craft story-worth experiences. And at every touch point, we must deliver emotional hospitality.
Thank you so much. It's a great point that we need to be relevant and the emotional connection. I think when we look at it, the way the Gen Zs or in the future the Gen Alpha will be choosing is, are we going to make an impact? Because earlier days, everybody was looking at, I want a bed by the beach, or, I want to see the ocean. I remember during my early days in my career, I was taking a call from one of the guests. He was asking me, can you guarantee that there will be no rain? And he was asking that question again and again. So at that time, it was very important that they need the sunshine and all that. But not anymore. Now people are talking about topics like sustainability. For instance, we had a whole session about it, and that's very important. People are looking at, okay, if I go to this destination, am I making an impact to the environment as well? It's no longer like a corporate checkbox or anything as such. Again, you talked about emotional connections. So everybody is asking, okay, how am I going to contribute to the local community? We have tour operators with big sheets that we have to, as sales and marketing has to fill out saying how sustainable the resort is. Are we part of a green globe or any kind of environmental program? And these are questions that are being asked by the generation now, and probably in the future as well, it will become an important topic. So I would like to ask Mr. Fahudh, you have worked in different resort operations, and you're quite well known for your conventional, unconventional ideas or smart, creative ideas as well. What role should sustainability and local culture play in our future marketing messages?
Thank you, Rifaa. I have to say this first, okay? It's 120 BPM. First time I'm doing something like this, so please bear with me, yeah? Whew. Okay, imagine here, what do I do? So I imagine things, then need a solution to make it real. I find the solutions, I talk to the SMEs, and I make these things happen. So that's where I come from. So when it comes to marketing messaging, half my life I worked with in marketing as well. Uridu, Watania, Diragu, BMM, all of the resorts. I met Ali from Kurumba here, my first edurui. Tourism sector. So messaging is, I think, authenticity, right? That example that you took, the guest who comes here and complains about the rain, rightfully so. We sell them the photo of the sun, the sand, the sea. And when they come here, if it rains, they will complain. What I'm trying to say here is, if we want to give the authentic messaging, marketing is about the authentic messaging, then the authentic community, the authentic culture, the authentic sustainability initiatives needs to be at the forefront of our marketing and messaging. You did mention about our humble beginnings. Our hospitality didn't begin 50 years ago. 300 BC, 1500 BC was when Maldives was born. We had our people go visit the Roman Empire. Our cowrie shells in Egypt, in those catacombs. So that's what Maldivians are. So I do get a bit emotional when it's Maldivians as an artist, but bear with me. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is, we ruled the Indian Ocean. In the 1970s, Divehinga MNSML, Kanduga, Sateka, Ulandu, we had it. We were there. That's our culture. And we were sustaining what happened. What happened to that culture? Which is why we are having a hard time putting that messaging across. Which is why we are having a hard time speaking the truth. Where we are as Maldivians. Visnara Divehi Rajyaga resort toga 70% owner unnaki beru mihu. Mi hagigai. Mi hagigatuga wahaka dakkanche. Faudeki lakujje. I joined this industry professionally as 4 years ago with the inception of Oga Art Resort. So as a kid, I'm learning from the people. Ayya, Nisham, Inad, all these people I'm learning, even Rajesh, I met so many times, your technology, I'm learning. And you know what kids do when they learn? They ask questions. I'm also in education tech, developing learning systems for kids. So this is culture, right? This is culture. You need to have that nurturing culture. We need to have that nurturing culture. We need to have this conversation. myself included, Fahudh was sama kada, Fahudh was kuram rangal konte bari. But first, let's take ownership of that. We're talking about 50 years, the next 50 years from the past 50 years. But who's running the show? Who's running the show? Fassahara mitana hova siyasi miha nunta. Nengomba ke haro midakkani. I'm not angry. I'm just nunta hagigata ki. Hagigata haro Facebook nya kihena haro mikan hallu kurani. Mitage jaha lava duha inta. You guys, could you please? I'm not hogging, okay, I'm looking at the time. Misra benneti. Aharume miyadu mitiba resort, our pioneers, they had connectivity, they collaborated. Resort and agency and Fahudh kiyani mi harunge daskurani mi. Eko me huriha kame netis was Kobin kiya mihekara, Nasim kiya miheka, Emu Manik, all these people, they got together. The president was in on it. Airport and Hadamviya. My grandfather was one of those people who were there. Etak project manager kangulni. That's how I know the story. Right? That's what's missing in our culture. Harunge connectivity and collaborative and harume exist in silos taketterega. We exist in silos. The government doesn't know. We don't know the policy. Someone coming in new into this industry, I'm just letting out my frustration. I'm not yelling at anyone. I respect everyone. I do respect all of you. I'm learning. I learned so much from all of you. I do. But what I'm saying is, you asked me, Fahudh, can you make it raw? I'm an entertainer. I can make it raw. Eburita ivvara aduhang. Right? So, divehinge culture ki, divehinna ki vara teduweri paya. Divehinna ki hituginne ti buna, be divehinna ki holwashiga massal hallu kurami. Divehinna ki. Ingiresim beluviya divehin. Visnala, ingiresim beluvi bayake divehinna ki. I'm not saying it, I'm just saying the facts. We were smart enough to get our independence. We ruled these oceans. It's sad, guys. I'm sorry, but I think everyone's doing a good job. I think what we are trying to do is get together. I think everyone knows what we are trying to do. I think if we lock all these doors in here, if we keep everyone here, I'm sure my strategy, master plan, action plan, my room nereven. Guarantee, like, Shukur was there, but you talked about, sir, so much, I understood the data you were talking about, right? But you wanted to say it this way, right? Aharam midakkani mitaga ayya wahaka dakkam bona gota. Aharam midakkani aharum resort ko bartender bona gota. Fahudh mihim mivahaka kiyadi be ahre bayaka. Which is why I came here to say this to you. I hope I heard someone say the change makers are in this room. Let's make this change. Let's do it ourselves. Fahudh mere hama danti mihuna ko vara fakka and Fahudh angatan Fahudh baram moluwan me strategize kura mind map sadang. So I'm here for you guys. Sorry, thank you.
That's great. I love the passion. And because of that, can I ask you another question, actually? You talked about how we ruled the ocean. We had 100 fleets in the ocean as well. You talked about how we visited the Roman Empire. It's really sad that right now we are not taking that message forward or talking about our culture at that point, like where Maldives was long time back. I think that is something that we need to do now so we can make an impact 25 years later. What are your thoughts on how we can bring those amazing stories that is lost right now to the forefront?
I think the answer is sitting on this table, in this panel here. We have an EFA system, the technological backbone. You have the fastest internet here, We have all the storytellers here. We just need that platform. I think you know this better than anyone. That platform where the entire community can connect, load their stories, and find an algorithm or a mechanism where everything's sort of distributed into those pockets, I would think. and you have the backend, the backbone to facilitate or an infrastructure, I would think, to run these AIs. You know, that it's here, guys. It's here. We have it. We have the system. Sorry, I just get excited about these things.
Thank you so much for that. So we cannot actually think about 25 years, next 25 years without talking about technological advancement. I remember that a time where the booking inquiries actually came from a telex machine. Does anybody remember that? Telex machine. But now we are talking about, I mean, at that time, we would not think about virtual reality or AI or anything as such. But now we are seeing that as a reality as well. And Mr. Mehta, you talked in the GM forum, I think last year, how transformative role or management solution can enhance hospitality efficiency. So looking ahead 25 years, how can digital transformation help evolve the Maldives tourism experience, whether it's storytelling or bringing our culture into the forefront, or what will be the emerging digital trends should we be paying attention to now to make a difference?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for asking this question. I was waiting for this, but my answer will not be as emotional as Fahudh. You see, there have been very few things which are very touchy to us, right? And if we have to go to the future, we really need to look at our archiving, our history, our past, and all those kinds of things. But I'm really glad, you see, today we are really talking about 2050. It is not 2030, it is not 2035. And that's possible to look into 2050 because technology has given us or is empowering us to look that far, all right? So that's how the entire things are coming up. We say we as an operator, but we are very much into creating a social fabric in every community, in every economy. And that's why we're saying we are also transforming ourselves from a telecommunication to something else and something else. So we are saying artificial intelligence is very much there, but to have the artificial intelligence, all right, we need to have the intelligence at first, which as a human we have. And the question is that how we are engaging with the machines which we are creating ourselves through our intelligence to build up the information which is required for us to see that far what we are really talking about. And all the generations, if you really see, initially, if you see a couple of years back, our parents used to think about future. We were not worried about thinking about future. But it's turning the table down. If we look at the youngsters and the Gen Zs, they are more futuristic, and they are using those tools which are more futuristic, which is pushing us as a generation to really look ahead. Right? So these are the kind of things which are happening across the world. It's not only happening in a certain part of the world, but if I presented today that we are living in 2025, and it is a big meaning if we demystify this one. Living in 2025 in the present moment is also a big thing because there are some countries which are even living in 2023 in terms of technology. And as I mentioned to you about the private 5G and the AI, and I can tell you that Maldives will be one of the first country who will be rolling out this concept across the world, where the AI is getting empowered with the fastest networks, and that's also a world is going to watch. So there are so many things which are happening across. We are not behind the technology foray in Maldives. We are very, very much ahead of what the world is really looking around. The question is that we really need to be inside of this fabric, and we need the support from all the businesses and the people, right, to really make it very, very progressive. So this is how I really see the technology in 2050 we can see. Digital humans definitely is a reality because there are chips which are getting into our brains. And maybe in next future summit, you might see my replica sitting here. I'm sitting somewhere else, right? So those kinds of things are also possible. And these are called digital twins. So many of the organizations and companies have already achieved digital twins by creating robots as a replica of who can do our work in the factories. And that's why I gave the example of dark factories, right? So dark factories, again, the concept has built up from the technology itself, right? Otherwise, it was not possible. So we are seeing this is coming as more and more reality. You'll see digital twins of humans, the way the chips are getting manufactured, and they will definitely going to sit in our brains, in our hands, so that you see a predictive analysis can be done. So we really don't need to go to any doctor. He will know what's going on in our body. So that's the kind of technology and the kind of futuristic vision which is there. So 2050, I see that we're going to live it before 2050 comes in. So this is how I really see technology.
Great. Think one thing that we can take away from here is that Maldives has the raw ingredients. We have the sun, sea, ocean that is attracting the guest here. But we are talking about the next generation, where the mindset is going to take, travel trends are going to take, sustainability, culture, emotional connection, that is going to be the forefront. I mean, we have a strong foundation in hospitality, no doubt about it, but during this rapidly shifting global tourism landscape, we need to know whether we are brave enough to adapt or bold enough to innovate and clear enough in our storytelling to show that Maldives is no longer only about sun, sand, and sea, but there is a lot of respect to us, to our culture, to everything that we do that can change that guest who is looking to book Bali, for instance, or Thailand, for instance, to come and stay with us. And I want to throw this question at the audience and also the panelists. If we are to ensure that Maldives remained desired and relevant destination in 2050 and beyond, what is one action or one mindset shift or move that we need to prioritize today? It could be a policy change, it could be a marketing message. So, I mean, here we have commercial leaders, general managers, and experts in different areas. So if anybody can share any feedback, please.
Could you repeat the question?
What would be that one thing or one action or mindset shift we need to do now to stay relevant in the next 25 years?
The educative culture, how we are going to approach building the next generation of citizens who are going to take upon this responsibility of carrying those Maldivian stories, the struggles that currently what we are going through. So I think a policy change needs to be, you know, when you're working in EdTech, one thing is, you know those tests that you do, like multiple choice, the essays, right? So the reason you do it is to have, it's very simple, okay? It's very simple because one thing is you say, this is what I want to get out of this, and this is how I'm going to get there, and this is the journey, right? So what we're talking about is how we can take that narrative, because I see you've been talking about this, how this storytelling, how could we bring that out? I think what we're talking about is how do we tell the Maldivian story to, in the future, or the generations to come. I think it's about empowering the community itself, who are existing in the tourism sector, to allow them to express themselves, to tell those stories in the PR or the communication systems. Like, if I were to put in an example, would be, you know, Instagram, like, start testing it out with the staff members, you know, see what kind of stories that they can put out there. You know, if we are talking about some actionable items, I would think. So this allows for, you know, different aspects of the same story to be told by different people, because you have multitude of people with multitude of interests who want to come and visit you, I would think. So, misalkan kurumbayang annam benu vedane family kuchas kurumbayang annam benu vedane conference kan annam benu ba kuchis ekam ehenkama vanyama kurumbaga hunna waiterang e kurumbaage account ge authoritative e difa e story tell kurmane varas ehem viewpoint kon doen edo harma komme doku mi badan Every day, that's what we go through. We scroll through those stories, right? So let's remove that corporateness out of that. Let's have our blogs, our conversations, you know, those podcasts. The technology is there. We're allowing the community, again, the culture, you know, a culture build kuranje hechetta. A culture build one with anugatipi mi hunnang emihunna wahaka da kiya devene podcast taka michi aharu menna facilitate kodana. And I think that's all we require, you know, that facilitation. And you know, it just unfolds on its own. Things take up its organic shape, you know, and sometimes I think trying to impose too many rules can actually break things, you know, because things need to grow organically. The adaptability and the adoption and the adaptability needs to come in an organic form for things to sustain. You know, and again, once again, I'm telling those stories, you know, I think where I was talking earlier. Misayaka, PR go no kujjang eba ingen jehe sales miha hadani kihinekkam sales mihan eba ingen jehe management no kihinekkam bisna foti anna aharuge miren ot hadan jehani kihinekka management an eba ingen jehe owner on kihinetto bisna foti kumfuni den ituro bitan expand koran ot no head of you kihinetto hadan ot me line of transparency, we are expanding, we are doing this aneka emme daruga hunna kujja, that they need to have this idea where they are heard, which through their story, way of storytelling or community gatherings. Me lavasha jehe cohesive it's beyond science though. Again, whether it's economics, sociology, biology, everything's mathematics, it needs to make sense. So I would think to answer your question, you know, in order for us to take this to the next generation, I think we need to allow the autonomy of storytelling to the community, the people who are actually involved there, and the rest of us to just caution in the wind. And let's see how things beautifully take organically. Does that make sense?
Thank you so much.
Let me just add a connected flavor to what Fahudh is really saying. He's talking about storytelling means retaining what's going on, and it's all there out when technology is moving at a very, very fast pace. There are terminologies which comes to our ears. For example, machine learning, right? It is very, very common. Deep learning. There are language models which are coming up, right? So it means that, and as a generation, what is the change we have seen? The next generation, including ourselves, is also we have become less vocal. And here we are talking about storytelling. So we are passing through the phase where we have to expedite because machine is gonna learn what we are telling. Right? If you're telling the truth, it's going to capture the truth. If you're telling a lie, it will capture a lie. And when somebody's or next generations are going to query that to the machine, if it's a lie, the response is going to be a lie. Right? So that's the downside of the technology. But definitely there are control mechanisms. And we at times has to wear a commercial hat while we are really, even we are talking about preserving a culture, getting into the kind of a story and preserving some of the things. Are there solutions available, right? So don't look at me here as a buyer or a seller. I'm looking at selling something. But what I'm saying here is that the world is changing towards as a maker and a taker, right? Rather than a buyer and a seller. When we say maker, it means that we are all part of the solution, of designing the solution. And when we are saying it's a taker, it means we are all the buyers for that solution which we are designing. So this is how the world is changing around. Technology is available today, and we face these challenges as an opportunity on day-to-day basis as a business, because there are customers which are coming to us and say that, can you archive my data? And the data is for a few years. There are businesses which are coming to us saying, can you record my data? Can you give, and which is recoverable, which we call as a disaster recovery. And as mentioned that we came up with a data center, which is a tier 3 data center 3 years back. Within 3 years, we had to come up with another data center. So now we have 2 data centers, which can record the business language, which can record the cultural language, which has the potential of giving archiving solutions, which can be retrievable, recoverable, and you can run any platform on that one. And that's what, and schools, why not education should be part of that one? Why only a banking industry is looking for that? And why only hospitality industry is looking for that? Why not education industry looks into that? And that's what I'm saying. So it cut across all the verticals, all the segments, and the technologies available today, which can give us a perspective which is 30, 40 years ahead, right? So this is how the momentum is building up. We just need to be more aware of when we have to take that action. Maybe we are talking about technology. If nobody is taking that technology, then there is no point of really moving forward. So, right? So there is technologies which are available, which the world is grasping like anything. And this is how we can move ahead and move forward as a country, as a culture, as an economy.
Thank you. Ushau, do you have something to say?
I think because I happen to see the public sector side of it as well as I kind of get involved a bit in the private sector as well, this disconnect between the public sector and private sector, especially when it comes to the tourism industry, I think this is something that needs to be managed and properly aligned as we go into the future. Now, maybe you guys might have missed it when I said it, but the fact that we do not have a national level vision that where the industry is going, where the tourism sector is going, and the fact that the public sector cannot mobilize the private sector towards this national vision, and the fact that it is not happening is very unfortunate. I see the struggle the marketers in the private sector and the resorts they go through because they do not have this. Maybe for the future, what Destination Future could do, I wish they would do, is somehow come up with a vision for the industry. So that's the one thing that I would like to happen. It should not be time-bound for 5 years, but we should, all of us, all the stakeholders in the industry, instinctually should be able to say, this is where we are headed. And the public sector should enable and facilitate and let the private sector do their magic, which they have done for the last 50 years. So that mobilization, that's an important part that I think as the whole industry we should be worried about or at least think about. The other thing is with the use of technology, you know, human loneliness, human depression, this is also on the rise. So we have to be mindful of this as well. Now, the thing is, now as an industry, when we use technology, again, why I said it should be invisible is because when they come here, this should be an experience, this should be a destination where that human connection is invigorated, where they feel rejuvenated after coming here. So that's what I believe we should focus on. Everything should be to help with that human connection, to deliver that human authentic experience. That's what we do not remember the villas we stay in, the rooms we stay in. We remember how we felt at a destination, how we felt in a certain city or at a certain resort. So that feeling is what becomes the memory. That feeling is what becomes the word of mouth, which is the most powerful marketing method for among humans. There is nothing, no technology, no AI that is more powerful than word of mouth. So with every interaction, with every guest that come to the Maldives, how can we generate that positive word of mouth? That's my final point, I think, yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm just going to ask one more time, is there any feedback or ideas from the audience? Well, as Fahudh would say, hingalwala. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming here and listening to us. I think we made a very good point here that it is the responsibility of each one of us to take us forward to the next 25 years. And I hope you take something from our panel as well and implement it, whether it's the resort or an organization, to make sure that we are ready for the next 25 years. Thank you so much. Thank you.
It's not shit, ربك ستيجو قام برضا معنا مي فوزا ماني كيكي يا ففرض واني يمي كموغا أبرو داهي نيمي هي فاني ما شني في الفاني